Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is episode 117 of the American Reveille podcast. And as most of you know, the Arkansas governor has vetoed Bill HB 1570. It is a bill in Arkansas that bans gender transition for children. He vetoed that bill. He threw it in the garbage. Well, as we found out, the legislature of that state has overrode the governor and kicked his ass to the curb and put in that bill. They've instated, without the governor's approval, through a state process, through the proper process, something other states should take a note of, all right? They shoved it down his throat and said, screw you, this is what the people want. The people want their children protected. They want a bill that protects our kids against these radical liberals shoving gender transition and gender dysphoria that may or may not be taking place down their throat, to the point where it almost seems like some of these children don't even have a choice anymore. It's not right. It's not cool. We're going to talk about it. We're going to find out what they did. We'll read about it a little. And then we got an interview that Tucker Carlson did with the governor. His name's Asa Hutchinson. Asa Hutchinson. Okay. This interview is actually awesome because Tucker just gives him that douchey Tucker face the whole time, pisses him off, and just drills him down because he really knows nothing about it. He didn't want to do the bill. He's saying, oh, I don't want to do the bill. It's overreach of government. That's not the conservative way. Our kids are under attack, you psychopath. Well, you'll see. You'll see. It's really good stuff. We're going to talk about it next on the American Reveille podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, how you guys doing today? Episode 117, American Reveille podcast. We got all kinds of different subjects we're going to be talking about today. I've got recordings after recordings after recordings. I wish I could say stacks on stacks on stacks, but I can't yet. But I can say recordings on recordings on recordings. Basically, no sleep, no sleep. No sleep for James Lane, but that's okay. That's all right. You guys need to know about this stuff. I'm talking about things that other people may not be going into in a way that other people may not be really explaining it. So, hey, why not give it my shot? Why not put my brand of Kool-Aid out there? All right. Speaking of brands of Kool-Aid, this episode, folks, this episode sponsored by Ancient Life Oil. All right. Ancient Life Oil is this amazing CBD oil. It's 100%, all right, made in the USA. It is 100% pure. It is effective. It is not psychotropic. It's 100% THC free. It makes me feel great. It relieves the nerves. It's just great stuff. Overall well-being. I mean, total overall well-being. Night and day, guys. All right. I was foggy. I was laggy. I was feeling just overwhelmed. You can imagine with all the stuff I do. All right, with the PhD stuff, with the American Reveille work, with the kids, everything I'm doing, you could only imagine how stressed I am, right? But this stuff's great, all right? I take the Ancient Life Oil. I built up that CBD inside me, all right? 100% THC free. Again, like I said, it does the trick. It does the job, and it's fantastic. It's called Ancient Life Oil, all right? You go to www.ancientlifeoil.com. Look, I can even bring it up right here. Look, this. You'll see this website. It's this orange, pretty website with the pyramid here. AncientLifeOil.com, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com. Use promo code James, get free shipping and handling. Promo code James gives you free shipping and handling. I could go on and on and on about Ancient Life Oil, all right, but you'll go crazy, trust me, because you'll be like, let me get to the content. Why aren't you going to the content? Do you know how much hate mail I get from people like that sometimes? Oh, you talked on and on and on about this. You didn't get to the content. There are people out there. I want you to know, if you're one of those folks, there are people out there that just enjoy finding out what the American Reveille's up to, how we did. They might want to know how many people listened to the podcast this month. There are people out there that like that. So we're going to keep doing my show my way. And if you don't like that, I'm so sorry. We've determined through a massive polling effort that you guys don't hate me. It's actually the censorship. That's why the numbers are crap. It really isn't you. Nope, it's big tech. It's been proven. So we'll just have to deal with it. We'll go around it. We'll find different ways, but we'll recover. I'm not worried about it. I'm really not. I've got the awesomest fans in the world, and I know that if I have a couple thousand of you floating around, then there's a couple 100,000 more you just waiting to be found by the American Reveille. We can bring that up to speed, get the right sponsors in here, get the right money in, and then start making a difference in this country. I'm not one of those guys that's trying to get famous here. I'm looking to really do something right, and then really make a difference. Put my money where my mouth is. I've said a lot of stuff over the last year. I put a lot of words out there, and I don't want to just be a person going, oh, look, I'm selling t-shirts and buying a Maserati, and now I'm going to make videos about it. No. I'm going to take this money. We're going to invest it into this business. We're going to grow this business. We're going to sponsor other podcasts, other bloggers, other things like that. And then we're going to literally build movements. We're going to lobby for education if we have to, for reform, all kinds of different things. But we have to get from step A to step B to step C to step D. You know how it goes. All right. Do me a favor. Just stick around a couple minutes after this episode's over. Check out my ad on Ancient Life Oil. I put together a little video for Ancient Life Oil, the CBD oil that I swear by. It's really great stuff. Like I said, ancientlifeoil.com, promo code James, free shipping and handling. Awesome stuff. Just stick around at the end if you're not convinced. I promise you that will give you the urge to get your hands on some amazing Ancient Life Oil. All right, guys, listen, we're going to talk all about Asa Hutchinson. I believe that's how you say his name. Asa Hutchinson. Asa Hutchinson. It's a pretty interesting name there. ASA. All right. The interview I talked about in the intro, it's about 10 minutes long. We're going to watch it together. That'll be after I read this article. But we really have to shine some light on this, because I don't know why any Republican governor wouldn't sign a bill. Right. He really believes that there is some sort that like the left has really convinced him. They've brainwashed him, unless he's a plant, unless he has ulterior motives, unless he has a stake in the game. Who knows? Who knows what he has? I got to get some coffee in me. Hold on a second here. Yummy. Yummy in my tummy. That's black coffee, ladies and gentlemen. No sugar, no cream. Hoo-yah, baby. Black coffee. Listen, I know I have to be careful. I can't say that. They might say that I'm being racist against the coffee. This governor's a piece of crap, all right? I'm sorry. I don't buy any excuses he has. I don't buy any of them whatsoever. He sits around. He sits around and he talks about how he believes the government shouldn't get involved in medical decisions. What do you mean medical decisions? You know, tuberculosis is a medical decision. AIDS is a medical decision. Getting pregnant after being raped, God forbid, that's a medical decision, right? Being confused as a young person and then being forced onto drugs or forced to have a sex change, that doesn't sound like a medical condition. That sounds like child abuse. It sounds like torture. All right? It's not a complicated science. You're not even giving these kids any time to figure crap out, right? Let our kids be. And if you still feel the same way as a young adult after you're 18, do what you got to do as an adult with your own independent decisions, right? That's the libertarian in me, I guess. But the conservative in me says, stay the F away from my GD children. Period. I'm not going to change that stance. I'm not. All right? And if you're not going to change that stance, if you believe they should keep their hands off of your damn children too, do me a favor. If you're on Gab, follow me, American_Reveille. If you're on Parler, at the James Lane. I'm on Instagram, American_Reveille. You can find me on Odyssey, on YouTube, on Rumble, at American_Reveille. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give me a 5-star rating, leave a review, leave a comment, like, subscribe. Do that on every platform. If you're confused about where to find me, look in the comment, or not the comment, but the description section below. Every link is there, including the newsletter, which I would love it if you would please subscribe. That's how you're going to get the info in the next few weeks for the sticker contest. That's right. I said sticker contest. The sticker contest is going to have a $200 grand prize. Again, I'm not going to give away in a couple weeks. You'll have more info, but you got to stay tuned and you got to sign up for the newsletter if you want that early information. But I will send out stickers and there will be a $200 prize for a very lucky winner. And that's no joke, no BS, honestly. So check out the description section below. It could be worth your while. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start getting into this. Let's read. All right. This is a Gateway Pundit article by Christina Layla. Arkansas State Legislature overrides governor's veto on bill which bans the gender transition procedures for minors. Excuse me. Screwed that one up right there, right? The governor got a bill on his desk that bans these procedures. It does other things. And he said because of those other things, he vetoed it. The state legislature said, screw you, Asa. You're a major asshole. All right. And they said, we're going to do it our way. And they did it their way. All right. Just like Lord Humongous in Mad Max. Not now, my dogs of war. For now, we do it my way. Arkansas Governor, we're reading. Asa Hutchinson, supposed Republican, on Monday vetoed HB 1570, which bans gender transition procedures for minors. The GOP-sponsored legislation prohibits healthcare providers from administering gender transition treatments, which can include surgery and hormone therapy to people under 18, the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette reported. Good, right? Governor Hutchinson called the bill a vast government overreach and referred to it as a product of the cultural war in America. Oh, because he's a little bitch. He doesn't want to fight. While in some instances, the state must act to protect life, the state should not presume to jump into the middle of every medical, human, and ethical issue. I don't find that to be medical, human, and ethical. I find that to be causing these children to literally kill themselves. You'll see when him and Tucker spat back and forth. The House voted 71-24 and the Senate 25-8 to override the governor's veto. That's in the state of Arkansas for those who aren't familiar. And I try to explain this as much as I can because a lot of people don't know how things work. Every state kind of mimics the government in its own way. So a state government has its own president, which is the governor, and its own Senate, its own Congress, its own, not Congress, but its own House, its own little setup, just like the federal government. Right. And they have their own little way they do things. So just like the Congress and the Senate here in the national setting can override a president and the president has veto power, so does the governor. And so Governor Hutchinson, you got served. That's what happened. I want you to know, by the way, those who are listening, I did like a head bobble thing. I've been a little scarce for the last few days. You haven't seen me too much on camera, but besides being so freaking busy, you can't even imagine. I've got like a week left to get a 30-page draft literature review in, and I'm on like page 8. Yeah, and trust me, that with some other legal stuff, with this, with work, you can't even. But I pulled something in my neck the other day on this side, on the right side. So the left side, because the right side screwed up, the left side got all pinched. So, it's so hard to even sit in this chair. So when I did that neck bob thing, it just felt like lightning just shot. Every time my neck went, it was like, like if I was in Mortal Kombat and Raiden had just shot me with like a lightning bolt like that, I feel like Raiden just kicked me in the balls. That's what happened when I did my head thing like that. So I hope it was worth it. I hope it was entertaining to you because it hurt like hell. I just want you to know that. So yeah, the House told him and the Senate told him to kick rocks. They told him to kick rocks. And I'm going to bring them up on the screen. I'm going to show you this work. All right. I'm going to show you this piece between him and Tucker. And God, he's just an unlikable piece of crap, man. He's so unlikable. Look, if this guy was your neighbor and you were a couple beers deep, you would go to his yard and piss on his azaleas. You would. Look at his face. Look, he's got that little like, yeah, like Chucky from Child's Play. He's like, after you go, I'm going to stick my hand in the ice cream and take a bite without a spoon. And I didn't wash my hand after touching my wee-wee when I went to the bathroom. He looks all nasty and devious like that. I know, right? Makes no sense, but makes sense to me. Look at Tucker. I like Tucker. I really do. But God, even when he's on my side and he's making that face at someone else, you just want to headbutt him. Like, you're like, don't look at me like that, you son of a bitch. What'd you do with my daughter? Well, Tucker, I'm coming for you, Tucker. Anyway, all right, we're going to get back on track here. I'm going to make this screen big. You're going to, for those listening, you don't have to get riled up by Tucker giving you the mean mug. For those watching, welcome to the party.
Well, the legislature in Arkansas recently passed a bill that would ban doctors from prescribing so-called puberty blockers, heavy-duty hormones, to children who believe they're transgender. The law also bans surgeons from physical castration of children. But the governor of Arkansas, Asa Hutchinson, vetoed that bill on Monday. Legislatures in Arkansas just voted to override that veto, which brings us to where we are right now. Asa Hutchinson is the governor of Arkansas, and he joins us to talk about this story. Governor, thanks so much for coming on. I really appreciate it in the middle of all this.
Just wait. Just wait how this conversation goes, guys. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. It's really freaking funny. It's really funny. He puts him, it's like Rocky getting Apollo up against the ropes and peppering him up. Just watch.
Now, I think of you as a conservative. Here you've come out publicly as pro-choice.
I think of you
on
as a
the
conservative.
Question of chemical castration of children. What changed?
Well, first of all, your teaser as you led into this program did not accurately represent the bill. If this had been a bill that simply prohibited chemical castration, I would have signed the bill. But Tucker, as you know, this bill was overbroad, it was extreme, and went far beyond what you just said. And I made it clear that if this was about prohibiting procedures, sex reassignment surgery, absolutely, I would have signed that bill. But this, again, is the first law in the nation that invokes the state between medical decisions, parents who consent to that, and the decision of the patient. And so
I think you heard him say it right there, right? The first law in the nation. He doesn't want to be the first. He's afraid to lose certain voters. He's afraid to lead the charge on something that he thinks could affect something he doesn't want anything to do with, and he doesn't believe he should have anything to do with, which is protecting our children. He's been hoodwinked, brainwashed, bamboozled by the left and their propaganda. Let's keep listening.
So this goes way too far, and in fact, it doesn't even have a grandfather clause that those young people that are under hormonal treatments,
okay, but if I could just correct you for a second. Well, this is chemical castration, of course. If you stop puberty and suppress the sex hormones, you're chemically castrating someone. So our description was correct. But let me just ask you, I mean, there are all kinds of, we're talking about minors, children here, and there are all kinds of things in Arkansas kids in every state are not allowed to do. Get married, drink a beer, get a tattoo. Why do you think it's important for conservatives to make certain that children can block their puberty, be chemically castrated? Why is that a conservative value, if you would tell us?
Well, first of all, you have parents involved in very difficult decisions. You have physicians that are involved in these decisions.
You mean parents that are involved in child abuse? Physicians that are involved in child abuse? By the way, Tucker's reminding me of Jerry Springer. Not Seinfeld, but Jerry Springer. Isn't he kind of like Jerry Springer's always like instigating? He's always saying something to start some stuff. He's like, so you cheated on your wife with this woman, Sally. Well, we've got Sally right here. Let's bring Sally out. All right. Sally, this is Governor Asa's wife. Like he's just, it's kind of nice to see at least Tucker and other people being hard on people, even when they're on our side. This man doesn't deserve any softball questions. He vetoed a bill that would save all children in Arkansas from terrible, terrible decisions that are literally not being made by sound minds, plain and simple.
And I go back to William Buckley. I go back to Ronald Reagan, the principles of our party,
Ronald Reagan.
which believes in a limited role of government. Are we as a party abandoning a limited role of government and saying we're going to invoke government decision-making over and above physicians, over and above health?
Well, turn that camera away from chemical castration and let's talk about government overreach. Deflection. That's called deflection tactics. Scotty, put all the power in the rear deflector shields. I'm giving all I've got, Captain. We don't have the power. What did I do? I screwed up the screen. There we
go. And saying you can't do that. So
you believe it's healthcare.
You cannot engage in
that. How deeply have you studied this topic? With respect, it doesn't sound like you've studied it very deeply. I mean, this is an emerging field.
No, it doesn't.
There's not a lot of research, but the research that exists suggests that depression and the urge to self-harm and suicide is a side effect of taking these hormones. A study in the UK showed the overwhelming majority of children on puberty-blocking hormones had the urge to hurt themselves. Why is that responsible medicine to do that to children? Why would you support something like that?
Well, I actually reviewed some of that study. I reviewed the high court decision there, and I think they are different than what you're talking about
review
here.
Anything.
Sure, there's a lot of unknowns
Snakety
here.
snake.
I studied this bill in contrast to what you just said. I spent a lot of time reviewing cases, meeting with people, listening to the experts, as well as to faith leaders as well. And I'm a person of faith, but at the same time, I'm a person in a limited role of government. I sign pro-life bills. I sign.
Look, I'm a goody two shoes. I do good things. I sign good bills all the time. I didn't do it just because I'm letting them cut the winkies off and I don't want to have anything to do with that. I just don't want to be the first one because I'm a little wimp. I'm a cowardly little pussy girl. I don't know what to do. That's basically what he's saying. I'm not such a bad guy. Please don't don't hate on me. I'm not such a bad guy. Like, he's literally groveling. Look, and Tucker's just crapping on him. He's just kicking him in the ribs.
Would be looked at as very conservative, but this is one that crosses the line. There's
Get
no
under
need
that
for
skin,
it.
Tucker. Under that skin, Tucker.
You say there's no need for it, but you just said that you've seen research that shows the mental health of children who receive puberty-blocking drugs improves. What is that research exactly?
Yeah, what is that research?
Well, the research that I've seen shows that these troubled youth, these ones that have gender dysphoria, that they also have depression, they have suicidal tendencies. It's a higher suicide rate than others.
That's a band.
And they go to their parents. The parents go to doctors, and they try to deal with this very difficult issue. I don't think we should deny them health care.
Hold on.
You know that HHS Secretary Assistant Levine, the transgender one that believes in 3-year-olds? You know, he or she or whatever you want to call it, they're a doctor too. People went to them. 30-year pediatrician. So he's saying that if a parent goes to somebody like Dr. Levine, who is he to question that kind of medical authority? It's not his job to get in the way of what people do personally. The problem is if the left brainwashes an entire generation to do certain things because of their own personal emotional truth that has nothing to do with the reality of things, which in a few years could clear up for a lot of these people, a lot of studies do show. The problem is these folks then commit harm to these children, even though it's under the guise of helping them at the time. And then 2 years later, these kids shoot themselves in the face. That's what he's not talking about. That's what he's not protecting from. I have daughters over my dead body.
I'm sorry. You're the governor. You just vetoed this bill. You said you're familiar with the studies. No one disputes that children who are asking for puberty-blocking drugs or been recommended to their parents or doctors may be depressed. That seems very likely. I think the studies show it. Cite one specific study that shows puberty-blocking drugs improves the condition. Does it make children less depressed? Does it make them less likely to harm themselves, to commit suicide? Just name one study that shows
He looks
that.
like he just pooped himself.
Well, I would refer you to the American Academy of Pediatrics. I would refer you to
You have nothing.
the
Nothing.
physicians
You
that
have
came
nothing.
out in opposition to this bill because they understood the risk to these young people. And if you prohibit
What he's saying is
the
he's an
medical
idiot.
care
He doesn't
that this bill
understood. He
prohibits,
doesn't
then
understand.
You're going to endanger
He just went with
these
what they
young
said.
people even further. So I would cite
But how do
all
we
of
know
those
that?
medical
Hold on,
experts.
this field
Again.
barely existed 10 years.
Yeah. How did we know that? He didn't know that. He knows that because some of those doctors said some stuff to him and he was like, oh, that sounds about right. I'll just go with that because I'm not a doctor and I don't know. And that's it. That's it. He didn't put a lot. You know what that's called? That's called minimal effort. That's what that's called.
Years ago. Cases of gender dysphoria, so-called, have increased by thousands of % in the last decade. So actually, we can't know the answers to these questions. The research that we have suggests the opposite of what you're claiming. You clearly aren't familiar with the research. And so my question is, have you spoken to any of the biggest employers, the big companies in Arkansas about this? Have you taken any calls from Tyson's, from Dillard, from Walmart? Has anyone from those companies called you about this bill?
No, but Tucker, you're saying, first of all,
You haven't
there's
spoken
no
to
studies,
one
and then you cite a
corporate
study.
interest. No. There is not a single study that I'm aware of
It's like-
that shows an improvement in the mental health of children who take puberty blockers, who are chemically castrated. And you couldn't cite one. You're not familiar with the research. You were told by doctors that it's a good idea, and you went with it. But I just want to clarify
Bingo.
very quickly.
Ding, 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 ding,
Have
ding.
you, and I just want to be clear on this, have you spoken to any corporate interest in the state of Arkansas about this bill?
Tucker, I answered that. I answered that question, and I said, no, I have not.
Oh, he's getting flustered.
You have
Look
another
at him.
question.
I'm skeptical because
Tucker?
we've certainly seen across the. Let me just say, Governor, with respect, I'm skeptical.
With
that not a
respect.
single
It's like, let me just say,
corporation in the
Governor,
state of
F you.
Arkansas has weighed in with you one way or the other on this bill. I'm skeptical.
You
but
asked me if I had
suppose would
talked
take
to
your word.
them. I said I hadn't. Let me emphasize, Tucker, you are a conservative. You have a great background in that. Where are we getting back to the limited role of government, that we don't have to invoke ourselves in every
This guy's doing
societal
everything in
position
his
out there?
power not to have like a vein in his head just go pop and him just go and just fall over. Like he's doing everything in his power, just not to implode upon himself and deflate like an old leather bag.
Let's limit the role of government. Let's let parents and doctors make decisions.
Then why don't we allow 18-year-olds to drink beer in Arkansas? Why don't we allow them to get tattoos? Why don't we allow 15-year-olds to get married? You vetoed a bill that would have protected children, not adults, children, to whom a different standard applies, from a life-altering permanent procedure that has effects we can only guess at, but the early indication is they're very serious and very negative in some cases. And now you're telling me you do that because you're a friend of limited government? Okay, then why are we preventing kids from
He's a
drinking? Sincere
freaking
question. Or getting
asshole.
married?
That's
Sincere
what he
question.
is. He's
Having
an idiot
sex.
and an
They're not
asshole.
old enough to have sex, but they're old enough to be chemically castrated? How does that work exactly? I'll listen as you explain.
Well, thank you,
Oh, my
Tucker.
God.
And first of all, these are difficult decisions. Do you want to listen to the medical profession? Do you want to listen to professional counselors? Do you want to listen to parents? Or do you want to leave all these decisions to the legislators that come from all different kinds of background? Yes, they're elected to represent you, but they do not necessarily make the right judgments for parents and for doctors in the most sensitive issues.
What's the
And
point
so
of our government then?
Why are we regulating the behavior of children at all if we're allowing children to decide? And by the way, I read a study today that showed the overwhelming majority of kids who do not take life-altering hormones in the end decide not to, quote, transition to a new sex.
I've read that too.
There's a lot going on here, but I'm asking as a conservative, you just invoked Ronald Reagan as if he were for chemical castration of children.
Right?
What other behavior should we not use the power of the state to regulate among kids? Seriously.
Well,
Why
you
can't they have
debate it
sex at
every
15?
time. And so, look, Tucker, you want to keep talking, or you want me to answer a question?
Oh,
Tucker,
I sincerely want you
whenever
to
you,
answer them.
well, thank you. And so whenever you, whether it's beer for minors, these are all issues that you have to address the legislature. You make judgment calls on it. but we also try to restrain ourselves as conservatives and say we don't have to be involved in every issue. And if you want to...
maybe if conservatives were involved in more issues, we wouldn't be in this socialist hellhole mess in the first place. How about that? Mic drop.
On the party, if you want to get back to the principles, then let's at least think through in a reasoned way as to whether this is the right bill to interfere with parents and doctors' decisions on a health care matter, as you pointed out, does not have thorough research in every area. And so I yield to that. Whenever you look at this bill,
yields to ignorance and patheticism.
Real quick, 10 years ago, if somebody had said, hey, Asa Hutchinson, you're going to be governor of Arkansas, and you're going to veto a bill that would have protected children from chemical castration, what do you think you would have said?
Well, just like I said today, if you're talking about a reassignment surgery, I would have signed that bill in a minute. But whenever you're talking about maybe less than 200 kids in Arkansas that's currently on hormone treatment
at this
and
point,
they are immediately cut off without having a grandfather clause in this legislation, I don't think that's treating those kids or their parents or their health care providers fairly or equally.
All right.
Maybe they shouldn't be on those hormones.
Governor, thanks. I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks. I appreciate you coming on. That governor is going to go clean his underwear out after that. He's Asa Hutchinson is not a happy dude. That dude's going to call up Tucker later and be like, are you kidding me? You son of a bitch. And Tucker's going to say, I just made $1 million because you're a piece of crap. Enjoy the bad coverage. And then we're going to vote him out. And then that's going to be the end of Asa Hutchinson. This guy, what else do we have to say? Vetoed a bill that would have protected the kids. The legislature did what the legislature can do, which is override the governor, which they did. Nice to see states taking back power. And I think that's kind of a different dynamic. That's kind of a dynamic that we're going to be seeing, and we are seeing from states making bills against big tech and against transgenders in sports, women's sports. We see Texas looking to fund parts of the border if Joe Biden doesn't do it himself. We've heard about that. We see states literally coming together for abortion laws, doing different things on an independent level, which we haven't seen in decades, if not over 100 years. So I'm kind of excited in the face of this encroaching tyrannical federal government to see states pick up the slack and start taking back control of their power. Just literally, that's really what it is. It's really good to see that. And I'm very interested to see where this all goes. All right. With that being said, what else can we say? I'm glad that the legislature had the balls to protect the children of Arkansas. That's the official message from James Lane at the American Reveille. I'm glad that the legislature of Arkansas had the balls to protect the children of Arkansas. Plain and simple. Episode 117 of the American Reveille podcast. That's a show. I appreciate you guys. Do me a favor. If you love this show, if you love what we do, head to www.americanreveille.com. Hit the donate button. It says support us. And please donate a couple bucks over to the American Reveille. We're going to put it right into everything we do here, into the street team, into expanding our operation, into getting the word out so we can wake up more patriots and empower folks around this country to do the right thing. All right, guys, thank you so much. Stick around an extra minute or two. We've got a little ad I put together for Ancient Life Oil. Remember what I said? AncientLifeOil.com, ANCIENT Lifeoil.com. Promo code James for that beautiful, wonderful, pure, 100% amazing CBD oil. Use promo code James, free shipping and handling. Stick around. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you on episode 118 of the American Reveille podcast. Stay classy. Bye. Let me get your attention for a second. I want to tell you about something. I want to share something with you that's very near and dear to me. All right, guys, I have joint pain. I'm sure it's no secret by now, all right? I have joint pain, I have hip pain, I have elbow pain, I have inflammation, all right? I get stressed out. I'm going through so much political news doing this podcast, so much. You can imagine how stressful that is, all right? How much anxiety that can cause, how many sleepless nights I have. But folks, I've been taking CBD oil for a while now. All right, for a while now, and it's fantastic. And a while ago, just a little while ago, I came across Ancient Life Oil, all right? And I got it from ancientlifeoil.com. And this stuff is fantastic, all right? It's the best source, the best and most trusted source for CBD oil in the United States. It's 100% pure. It's 100% THC free, no psychoactive effects, no high, nothing like that, just pure CBD, pure relief from all of those issues, relief from sleeplessness, relief from anxiety, relief from stress, from inflammation, right? Relief from joint pain, relief from all of these things that could really hinder your daily life, your daily activities, really put you in a bad place. This stuff lifts your mood up. It's fantastic. All right, it's legal in all 50 states. People are really experiencing wonderful change in their life, basically doing something that people have been doing for thousands of years, guys. If you head to ancientlifeoil.com, ancientlifeoil.com, the same place I went, all right, the same place I went to get the stuff, you can go on there, use promo code James, James, at ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, Life Oil, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com, promo code James, James, promo code James. Free shipping and delivery, folks. Free shipping and delivery. Guys, this is a great product. You are missing out if you need to do CBD and you're just not doing it for some reason, guys. I don't know what's stopping you anymore. It's 2021. Folks, if you want relief from these issues, you want to do it in a natural way without taking medications, you want to do it in a way that's helpful. I have found CBD oil to be very beneficial, and I believe it will be very beneficial for you as well. So one more time, ancientlifeoil.com.